You won't believe what Clint Eastwood admitted at 95 years old. The man who spent his entire life playing the toughest of the tough, the gunslinger with no name, the cop who didn't wait for permission, the Hollywood icon who seemed unshakable, finally confessed the one thing that actually broke him. And it wasn't a bullet, it wasn't fame, it wasn't even old age, it was a woman. Now, to understand why that confession matters, you've got to remember where Clint came from. He wasn't born into Hollywood privilege. He grew up during the Great Depression, moving from town to town as his dad looked for work. That childhood wasn't glamorous, it was hard, but it gave him grit. It gave him independence. It gave him that stoic presence we'd all come to know on screen. Fast forward to the late 50s, Clint finally gets his break on the TV show Rawhide. For most actors, that would have been enough a steady paycheck, a familiar face on television. But Clint wasn't most actors. In the mid 60s, he crossed the ocean to work with Italian director Sergio Leone. And out of that came the Dollars trilogy, a fistful of dollars for a few dollars more, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Those films didn't just make Clint Eastwood famous, they made him a myth. That squint, that silence, that edge. He wasn't playing cowboys anymore, he was the cowboy. By the 70s, he'd reinvented himself again, this time as Dirty Harry, a cop who bent the rules, spoke in one liners, and became the face of a generation frustrated with rising crime and disillusionment with authority. He wasn't just an action star, he was the action star. But here's the thing Clint didn't stop there. He picked up a camera and started directing, and suddenly the tough guy was also a storyteller. Unforgiven, Mystic River, Million Dollar Baby, American Sniper. Decade after decade, he kept winning awards, proving he wasn't just an actor. He was a filmmaker who could define American cinema. But for all the success, the fame, the money, Clint's personal life was complicated. To put it lightly, his love life was a story of its own. Multiple marriages, at least 8 children with 6 different women, romances that started in secret and ended in tabloids. For decades, Clint Eastwood was known as much for the women on his arm as for the films on his resume. Yet through all of that, through all the chaos, the affairs, the heartbreaks, one name kept coming back, Sandra Locke. They met in 1975 while filming The Outlaw Josie Wales. And from that point forward, she wasn't just another romance. She was different. They lived together for over 13 years. They starred in film after film together. The Gauntlet, Sudden Impact, Bronco Billy. She was his co-star, his muse, his equal. But it wasn't easy. Their relationship was stormy, passionate, and full of turmoil. And when it ended badly. There were lawsuits, public fights, betrayals, silence. And yet, even after all of that, decades later, Clint admitted she was the one who left a mark he never recovered from. He once said 9 words that shocked everyone who knew him. She was the only one who could do that to me. Think about that for a second. This is Clint Eastwood we're talking about. The man who survived the machine of Hollywood. The man who built an empire out of grit and silence. The man who always seemed untouchable. And here he is admitting that one woman, Sandra Locke, brought him to his knees. He described the end of their relationship not as heartbreak, but as paralysis. He said, I couldn't walk after. Not physically, but emotionally. She broke something inside him that he never figured out how to fix. Even now, in his Carmel home, surrounded by trophies, awards, and memories of nearly a century in the spotlight, Clint's mind drifts back to her. Not the lawsuits, not the gossip, not the betrayal. What he remembers are the quiet moments, the laughter between takes, the way she looked at him when the cameras weren't rolling, the way she challenged him, saw the vulnerable man behind the myth. And that's what stayed. That's the wound that never closed. So here's the truth. Clint Eastwood, the toughest cowboy Hollywood ever created, the man who defined toughness for an entire generation, wasn't undone by villains or bullets or time. He was undone by love. And maybe that's what makes him human after all. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, don't just scroll away, stick around. There are plenty more Hollywood secrets, more untold love stories, and more legends who weren't as unbreakable as they seemed. And hey, if you've enjoyed this one, hit that like button and subscribe. You won't want to miss what's coming next.